and welcome. I am the Bald Eagle, and we are here on the Unedited Podcast.
I mean, it's official today.
Yes, it's very official today.
Very official.
Yeah, for those
your
of
head
you,
warm?
it's so hot in this thing right now. So for those of you just listening and not viewing, I definitely have a Bald Eagle, what would you call this thing on my head right now?
I don't know what I call
Hat,
it. It's a hat.
beanie
I mean, it's
type
a
thing.
hat. It's like, it's not a beanie. It's not a hat. It's
So if you were one of our listeners
it's a bat.
that are not on YouTube, you might want to go to YouTube just for a second to see what
just
I'm
to
talking about.
See what he is wearing.
The
Good
reason-
Friday, you could have used it.
Oh, it would have been very helpful. It was freezing out there. The reason I'm wearing this is because yesterday was Youth Takeover.
Youth Takeover.
And at
What
one
a
of the
day.
services, at the 9:30 service, when they announced me to come out, they gave me the Bald Eagle, this hat, right? And I didn't put it on, and everyone was like, "Why didn't you put it on?" I'm like, because I was coming out to say some serious things, and I didn't need a distraction for everybody. So I figured I'd
Did
make
you
up
just
for
get
it.
handed on the way to stage or what?
Yes, I was walking on, and they handed it to me. I was like, okay, and
So did you just hold it the whole time?
yes, I just held it the whole time because I never put it on, and everyone was like, "I just wanted it on," but I figured I'd make up for it and wear it for at least
here you
the
are.
beginning of this.
Okay, so you should probably. Did you do the intro?
No,
yet?
I haven't. So
you
welcome
should do the intro as the Bald Eagle.
as the
that,
Bald Eagle.
Whatever that
It's
sounds
just
like.
wearing the hat. That's it. That's all. That's all it is. Well, welcome to the Heights Unedited Podcast, a podcast featuring real conversation about real life, where we dig deeper into the weekend message as well as answering your questions on faith, culture, and life. And I'm the Bald Eagle.
Yeah.
And that's all we
And
got.
we
for
still
this.
don't know who
I'm
I
taking
am.
this thing off now. I'm done.
The Bald Eagle has left the building.
Bald
people.
Eagle is still here, just in civilian clothes now.
Is that what an eagle does?
I honestly do not know.
Uh,
We're not getting
No.
getting support over
No.
from
the
from the beard.
the new beard.
The new beard is back in the old beard.
but it's not new
seat.
anymore. So what do we call it?
I don't. He's the
It's
old
like the
new beard.
returning new beard. The retro new beard.
The retro.
Retro beard.
The retro beard is in the house, and
Is
we
back.
do
for
have
one week.
some questions
For 1 week, and
For
we
1
were
week.
gone last week.
We were, and I do want to apologize to all our viewers and listeners for that
It's
because
the beard's fault.
we didn't tell anyone.
Should we blame the beard? He's not here.
He's not here, so we'll blame him.
Okay.
Yeah, it was him. He canceled it. No, but it was the day after Easter, and I'm gonna be honest, I was a little tired after that.
Yeah.
So it was
get
nice
that.
to have a week off for us.
Yeah, and we shut down. I think that's important too. It wasn't like just you were like, "Oh, I'm tired, so we're not going to do it." We shut down both locations and our offices the Easter Monday.
Yep.
So,
Well, I do want to thank all our viewers and listeners for being with us, for allowing us to skip a random week here and there, and still coming back for more. So thank you guys so much. We love your questions. So if you have questions, we are running low and would love for you to submit some questions. Before we hop into questions, though, we did have a unique, different weekend this last weekend with our
I
Youth
thought you were going to say
Takeover.
review there for a minute. I was like, we haven't.
No, we don't have any reviews coming in. You could rate and review the show, and we would read that here too.
Yeah.
We didn't have any, though.
Babraham said I can't call him Babraham yesterday.
Okay, that's sad.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about PJ.
He can call you that, though.
No, he can't. Not
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
Because I
So
explained why.
So you guys you reached an agreement.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, it's Babraham, so he might still do what he's going to do. So.
He's going to do what he's going to do. Let me ask you this, though. We had Youth Takeover Weekend this last weekend, which is so different from what we normally do. So many of our regular churchgoers experienced something totally different this weekend.
It was amazing.
And it was amazing, but I think some may have the question of like, why do we even do that? So let me ask you, like, why is Youth Takeover such a critical piece for our church?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because going into it, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, so to speak, right? Like it's people who I would say there's several different types of people in our church that we know going into it are going to struggle in some way. And I would say if you're from a very traditional upbringing and stream of faith, then there's a good chance that when beach balls are flying around, you're going to have the question of is this sacrilege? Does this go against the tenets of the faith, right? Is this in some way diminishing the reverence for God, right? So there's that piece, which comes from, the question even comes from where you came from, right? And then there's other people that we just know the volume level, we know the energy, I love the unpolished. That's just, and so to see somebody who, from a youth perspective, we're going, oh, they got potential of something here gifting wise. To see that used in that moment, to me, is so exciting because it's so inspirational. So the why behind it for me is God is on the move. God is doing something extremely important in the students' lives. And we get to have them who they sit in all the other weeks of the, but to have them and go, no, we recognize God's doing something. And we also recognize that we want to celebrate what God is doing. So there's a celebration to it. I would also say there's a piece of it where there's a lot of people I see on a Sunday and you see on a Sunday from the stage advantage where their teenagers are not plugged into youth. They don't understand what youth is. And so it's an opportunity, one, to kind of put front and center the celebration of youth, but also the challenge of, hey, there's a whole community here that is geared to walk with your student through this phase of life. And I think that's really important. And then the other one is just that they're the church of now. They're not waiting their turn. They're not waiting for, and so I think getting to bring them in, I think it's huge. But what about you? Well, you're the next gen guy.
I am. Yeah. And I think that for me, it just communicates support. Like there's so many churches where their youth ministry is just, well, that's where you just shove the kids so that they can get out of our hair.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And to have a church that supports youth enough to not only have staff members dedicated to youth, not only have budget numbers given to youth, but also say, hey, we're also going to celebrate what God is doing in youth and not keep it a secret that's hidden somewhere off. I think sometimes we forget that there's other things that happen within the church other than a Sunday morning. We have incredible life groups. We have incredible ministries that happen throughout the week for kids and adults. And I think being able to just shift our perspective a little bit to say, hey, there's more to the church than just what happens on that hour on a Sunday morning is just a really cool thing. And I think it shows not only support for it, but like you said, can kind of just open your eyes to go, man, God is doing some amazing things. And I think it just gives us more to celebrate. God is doing so many amazing things. And when we get to see it, it just gives us more to celebrate about how awesome our God is.
And to couple with that, I would say the energy, right? Like, so, and I don't know how you compare it. The normal church service, I don't know what you call it. Right. The main service, however you put that. Sunday service is probably a better way to say it. It can be easy for it to become week in, week out. We go to church. The energy level is there from the people on stage, but not always from because it's another Sunday. And this breaks that rhythm of it's another Sunday. I got there at, I think it was 6:50 yesterday morning, and the energy in the building, because youth were so excited for what they were doing. Right. Like that to me is contagious. That's a healthy.
And I think we had close to 100 youth serving in different areas throughout the services. Maybe more actually, because of, if I factor in both locations, I think we had more like 125.
And the night before getting to be in PV, same thing, energy level, the excitement, the nerves, and
I had a lady come up to me and she said she's been coming to Heights for maybe 4 months or so. And she said, it was unfortunate. She said she really has never been greeted before. And I'm like, oh man, that's really sad. And then she follows it up with, but this morning I was greeted so many times that it made up for it. And I was like, that is awesome. That's so cool.
So good. And I was out there, I got to go out to PV for the 9:30 yesterday. And I mean, the same thing, the layers of students from the front door, all the way through, like whether it was, I went and got a cup of tea, and it's a youth serving tea, and got to the doors for the what do we call it? NPR? Is that what we call that room? But anyways, like going into it, there's another 4 students, right? Like, and just to see our normal serve teams standing alongside, but taking a step back to let youth be that front line, but also like it was this cool picture of discipleship, right? Like we know you don't normally do this, but we don't want to take over from you, but we want to be here to support you. Like it was just this really cool,
super
moment.
Super cool. Well, I said it this weekend and I'll say it again to any of our viewers and listeners. Just thank you, church, for allowing us to do that. And I know it's a different weekend, but it is so valuable to the youth and just to, seeing our churches as a whole, not just one ministry or another ministry, but we're all together. So thank you guys for that. All right. We do have a question that we are going to hop into right now. This comes in from Anonymous. Annie Moss sends this question right now. I have an agnostic friend who asked if God is the only true source of goodness. And they said, if he's the only true source of goodness, why can they find goodness in people of other faiths and worldviews, sometimes even above and beyond or better than what their experience with Christians are?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it's not a new question, right? Like it's a different context for this question would be, I know somebody who claims to be a Christian, right? Who goes to church every week, and I work with them, and I work with somebody who claims to not know God at all. And the person who doesn't know God at all treats me better at work than the person who it's not a new dilemma that we go, hey, the people of God aren't acting like the people of God, which I feel like that's kind of the crux of what's being said here. So when it comes to goodness, we have very clear moments in Scripture, when Jesus even said, why do you call me good? No one is good but the Father, right? So characteristic of God is that God is good. That's his nature. That's his character. He cannot change that. That is who he is, right? And so James talks about every good gift then comes from above. So I would put it in the camp of when you see somebody outside of the faith who is able to put goodness in human form into action, that is a reflection of who they were created in the image of. Mm-hmm. So they're created in the image of God. God is good. So therefore, we all have the capability, whether you know Jesus or not, by human DNA, you have the ability to produce good. Now, when you meet Jesus, right, like the hope would be there's this transformation. The Holy Spirit is given, which the Holy Spirit enhances and brings out and leads to everything of who God is. He can only lead you to the things of God. So a Christian should be more loving. Mm-hmm. A Christian should be more kind. A Christian should be more generous. All of those things we would say are good. Well, those things should flow out of my relationship with God. And so there should be a higher probability, right? A higher reality that when you meet a follower of Jesus, that those things are exemplified. However, and you spoke on it, I don't remember how many weeks ago it was, right? Like we are all born with a sin nature. And even as a believer, I can choose to lean into my sin nature, which is at its core selfish. Mm-hmm. And so that I can lean in and make the whole world about me, which is what we talked about this weekend, right? Like I can make the whole story about me and it's going to be only as big as me. Well, at my core nature, I am not like in my sin nature. Sin is not obviously not good. It's selfish. It's all the things that we just said. It's the opposite of those things, right? Like I'm selfish, I'm stingy, I'm not generous, I'm not loving, right? Like it's all about me and my world. And so you can have a believer who is living according to their sin nature and exemplifies far less of the goodness of God. And you can have somebody who goes, hey, I'm from another religion, who what they're doing is they're really leaning into, okay, I see this in God, and out of self-effort are making themselves that way.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense. That feels like a long roundabout way to get to.
Yeah, and I think what you said, I agree with. It's like, man, if people always want to point out a hypocrite,
right,
for their justification of why God can't be true. Well,
right.
The problem is that we are fallen humans.
Yep.
We are people. So when people act out of a outer characteristic of God, you can't attribute that to God.
Yeah.
You have to look at God. So when this question says, if God is the only true source of goodness. Yes, he is the only true source of goodness. Now, we are able to experience anything good in this life because of God. Right? So we have the fact that we're breathing right now is God's provision. So there is goodness that happens because of God, and goodness that can happen because of God that somebody else can then reflect because they're made in the image of God. Just because they're not a Christian doesn't mean that goodness also did not come from God.
Right.
So,
well, and I think to say that, well, people who don't know God can't be good. Well, that's to deny the image they were created in.
Yeah.
So we have to go back to the story and go, okay, we're created in the image of God, therefore we are all capable of this.
Yeah.
Sin has marred that. And so for some people, they are able to reflect the goodness of God far more. And that has to do with, like, I think that often has to do, like in this, it says other faiths or worldviews, right? There are worldviews where how I treat someone determines if I go to heaven or not.
Correct.
That's a pretty high motivation to treat somebody with kindness, which we would say is good, right? So, but the motive is selfish, right? The motive is I'm going to heaven, so therefore I'll treat you a certain way. Or again, back to punishment, and if you don't treat somebody this way, then there is punishment waiting for you. Well, that's not the gospel. The gospel is I was saved by grace when I was mean and ugly and whatever. Mm-hmm. And what flows out should be that story. But to your point, we're broken.
Yeah.
Right? And so the difference is I can still go to heaven and spend the rest of my days being this mean, broken, right? Like those two, it's an and, it's not an either or.
Right.
But what's missed in that process, what's missed in that story of God, what's missed in the ability to help somebody else see Jesus, what's missed in the reward side of heaven. I mean, it's just such a short-sighted gospel that I would say yes to Jesus and live a life that's anything other than what he created me for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, we do have more questions, but first I would love to recap the weekend. And because we skipped a podcast last week that would have been discussing this idea that we talked about on Easter, that Jesus was just camping. We wrapped up the collection of just camping. It was the finale of
How
that.
was it for you? You were on an Easter. How was it?
It was awesome. It was super cool.
What was your highlight? Would you walk away going,
dude, that we got to wrap just camping up with the whole purpose of all of this. I got to talk about Jesus. And I hope that that's what was heard is, man, it's all about him. Jesus was just camping, and he camped so that we could be with him. That's the purpose of it. So good. It was definitely just so cool to be. The Easter message is my favorite message. Yeah. It's just the gospel, man. It's so good. And so fun to be able to do that. But would you just what are your thoughts, the idea that Jesus was just camping and kind of the finale of this just camping collection?
Yeah, I think I loved, and we even talked about it prior to the weekend, but just loved the whole concept of he made his dwelling among us, right? Like he made home, and home in that context is tabernacle, and tabernacle is temporary. It's a tent. And so the reality, like when you think about God Almighty, that is permanent, choosing to be temporary, enter into space and time. I've heard this, at some point I'm going to do something with it, but the idea that he changes time zones and enters our time zone, right? In this temporary sense, knowing where he's going. So for me, it was such a exclamation on the whole just camping to be able to go, Jesus did this for you. Knowing what was going to happen, knowing it was temporary, giving up eternal for that's just such a huge story. My brain can't even wrap around it. So then to cap off what has been so good for the church family in just camping, to go, this is what Jesus did. He is our model. Therefore now I should live on the same mission, on the same perspective, that this time zone isn't my time zone, right? Like I'm just in it for now. I just think there's such such a good.
That's so good. It's such a good finale. It ties a bow on all of it. And I think that when something ties a bow on it, there's also this like, it's done now. And the impact that Just Camping has had on so many people, that some people literally got it tattooed on them.
Yeah.
So many people have shared with us just how much this collection has meant for them. How do we fight against just making it a collection that is now put on the shelf and it was like, that was a cool time, now it's done? Like, these thoughts that we presented or that we understood and that we learned, they have to continue somehow. Like, how would you say that we're going to continue this idea of Just Camping now that the collection is over?
Yeah. Who's your favorite? Like, if you could get, let's go 49ers.
Okay.
You're going to get a signed football from it could be a legend, it could be current, whatever you choose. Who would it be?
George Kittle.
Okay. So you get from Kittle, we'll even throw in a shirt, right?
Heck yeah.
You get a shirt and you get a football from Kittle. What do you do with it?
Dude, I'm putting that thing in a case and putting it right on my mantle, right in front of my TV. I'm staring at that thing.
So good. and it's interesting to me. We shifted language to a collection for that very purpose. That when I get something that is so valuable, it's not just something that gets put. When I finish a book gets put with all the other books, right? Unless it's a book that I go, that transformed my life, I need to make sure I reread that, right? Then it'll end up different. It'll end up to where it's in my line of sight more often. It'll end up, and I think with the football, right? You said you put it on your mantle. Like, you're going to look at this thing multiple times a day, right? Yeah. Like, you're going to tell people about it. You're going to be excited. You may even have them over to show them the football, right? I guarantee you're not playing out in the backyard with your kids with that football.
No.
Because it's too valuable. And I think with this idea of Just Camping, that's the hope to like try and carry forward as a collection, right? Like this one just hit different than, I was just chatting with a guy. He got a Kyler Murray signed helmet at some golf tournament he was at. And his response instantly was like, I was wondering why they're giving him away. And then I was like, I bet he's going to leave. and doesn't mean the same, right? Like it's lost its value. And I think with this, you have to fight to keep the value. So you have to fight, where do I put this in my life that I remember? Where do I, and that was some of the stuff with the merch, right? It was just practical. I heard somebody this week, actually, it was interesting. PV Saturday night, they go, I have my Just Camping hat. And like multiple times this week, it's just reminded me, I'm just camping. I'm just camping. I'm just camping,
That's
right?
exactly what we did it
That's
for.
the purpose, right? Like that was the hope, is this one hit different. We knew it hit different. So how do we keep, because it's such an important message, how do we keep it in front of us? And I think it's how you hold it, honestly, what value you give it. If you move on to the next thing instantly, which I was thankful Easter wasn't that, right? I'm thankful that we didn't just roll straight from Just Camping to Easter and it was a complete new shift and out. It felt like, no, this wrapped up in a way that hopefully is memorable.
Yeah, that's memorable and that we can keep going with it. And I agree, man. I think it's a concept that we cannot lose. And I think the cool part is it's made its way into our language. Yep. And so it'll make its way into many other messages that are given on the weekend or talked about here on the podcast or whatever. It's like, this is a part of our language now, which I think is helpful in reminding ourselves, hey, we're just camping. Just because that collection's done doesn't mean we're not camping anymore. We're still camping.
And it's so funny to me. I literally, I'm not a fan of camping. Like, it's not something that if you gave me options, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go camping. Right. And
well, yeah, even your sweatshirt right now, somebody comes up, hey, you a big camper, man? Yeah, I see that. You're
sure
like,
not.
Nope.
Although I'm going camping in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I'll tell you all about it.
Let us know how it goes.
Tell you all about it.
Shifting a little bit to recap this weekend that we just had. We already talked about the idea of Youth Takeover, and it was awesome. But with what we talked about, the message that was given this weekend is about our stories. And we kind of focused a little bit on just hearing some of the impactful stories that have happened in youth and the life change that we've seen there. But man, if story is so important, how do we use our personal story for God's glory?
I think you got to tell it.
That rhymed. I did not even mean
I like
for
that.
it to do
I
that.
like that. I caught
Our
that.
personal story for God's glory. Boom.
You got to tell it.
Yeah.
You got to tell it. It's got to be something that you choose to let others into. It has to be something. And again, it goes back to when we really understand our story, we share it. When we an example would be somebody told me about their mom. Their mom had cancer and she's cancer free, right? Like that's a story that we tell. We prayed together, God showed up, and God's healed, right?
Yeah.
And so we share those kind of stories. We share the moments when, the miraculous happens, or we share the moment when we see my story impact somebody else, cross section with somebody else's. We did that in PV this week with Cordelia and Kai, where their stories intersected and it led Kai to accept Jesus. We share that story, right? And that story then rolls to somebody else. And I think for us, how we use our story is we have to find ways to tell it. We have to find, and I don't mean like it's got to be on a stage, it's got to be but it becomes such a part of our fabric, right, of who we are. So that, let's go to the first question, right? Somebody sees goodness in me. Well, let me tell you the story of why, right? Like it's not that I'm just out here trying to be good. It's I'm trying to conform to the image of Christ because he's good, And so I think it's figuring out, how do I practically bring this down to a daily part of life?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I think of the woman at the well, where Jesus meets her, right? She's in the middle of the day. She's at the well because she's an outcast, because she's had all these husbands, and Jesus comes and she meets Jesus, and he meets her where she's at. He loves her. He changes her life. And then she's like, okay, now what? And he's like, go tell people. Just go tell your story. Yeah. And really the gospel is just spread from that moment, because she can't shut up about it. She's like, I got to tell you this story. I got to tell you about this guy who knew everything I'd already done in my life. And, you know, and we see that all throughout scripture, that people encounter Jesus, they're healed by Jesus, and they can't shut up. Yeah. They just keep telling people. Even when Jesus is like, hey, shh, like, don't go tell people. First thing they do is go tell people. And that's really how the gospel spreads, right? The gospel means good news. How does the good news spread? By us just telling of the good news. Yeah. And this is what Jesus has done. And I think the power that we have in story that's so cool is that oftentimes when it comes to sharing our faith, we're like, man, but what if somebody asks a question that I don't know the answer to, right? An apologetic type question where I can't defend the faith to the level that I want to. Hey, just share your story. Yeah. Because they can't say anything. Like, if someone asks you a question, guess what? They're asking a question about your story. Yeah. You don't have to prove the existence of God. You don't have to talk about how Christianity differs from other world religions. Just, hey, I don't know, but let me tell you my story. There's power in that, and I think we have a tool to use that.
My favorite version of that is the guy that was blind, and he gets pressed by the religious leaders, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is I was blind, he touched my eyes, and now I can see. Yep. Right? Like so that's all he's got. He's like, good. And they're like, well, what about this? They're accusing him of being a liar. Get his parents in here. And they're like, their parents are like, I don't know, ask him. We weren't there. Well, what happened? I was blind. Now I see.
That's so good. It's so good.
How did he do it? I don't know.
I don't know, but he did. And I think that's what we have. We have the power to be able to tell that story too.
And then they're like, well, where did he go? Who is he? And it's just so good. He just keeps going back to the exact same thing. And yeah, it's always so good to me when like somebody is living such a life that is glorifying to God that they get to ask the story behind it. Mm. And I think that's the other piece. Yes, we can tell people, but there's also a piece where, man, I just live my story. I think of, the guy, he was living in the caves. I think it's Mark 5. He's self-harming himself. No chains can hold him. And, the demons get cast out into the pigs and they lose and Jesus goes, go home. Yeah. He's like begging Jesus, can I get in the boat? And clearly if you're this guy, you don't want to stay with the people that you've tormented and they just lost their livelihood because of, there's just no, and Jesus goes, no, you got to go home and
just go live it.
And that's the part, right? Like if he would have gone back to the caves and been a wild man, but he had to go back to the village and live in the space that they were. And the only thing he could give them was, hey, I was once the guy in the caves, couldn't control myself, and now I'm here in my right mind, as the Bible says. So, yeah, I just think there's something so sweet to that.
So good. And that, takes us to the question that was really presented this weekend is your life is telling a story.
Yep.
What is it telling?
Yep.
Is your story all about you, or is your story about Jesus?
Yep.
The way you live your life, if people were not to hear you, but just to read the story that is your life, would they read about Jesus or would they read about you?
Yep.
I think it's a question we can all ask. So great weekend. Excited for the weekends to come as we are going to continue to push forward in the Word of God, but also we have new collections coming that we'll be unveiling in the next few weeks. We do have one more question for us today, though. This comes in from Annie.
So is Annie actually Annie, or is
Annie is anonymous? But they literally said, just say this is from Annie.
Okay,
so here it is.
Perfect.
Annie asked this: how can I support and encourage my sister from a distance as she grieves the impending loss of her father-in-law and close young friend? She's wrestling with how broken and unfair life feels, and I'm not sure where she stands in her faith right now. But I want to sit with her in her pain and be a loving presence without sounding preachy or dismissive. How can I point her to hope in Jesus in a way that is gentle, real, and appropriate in the middle of her grief?
First of all, we love real questions.
Yes.
Right. And by real, we just mean real life. Like,
this is life, man.
Yeah.
This is a painful, real situation.
And if you've lost somebody, you can 100% relate. Like you can feel the pain that the person is going through. And I think the first thing that comes to mind just reading it is it's okay in the midst of their pain to just be present. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't mean you, because obviously there's distance, right? Is what it says.
Yeah.
So with the distance, it doesn't mean
her sister lives in another state. So there's a
and there may be a time and a place where you got to get on a plane and go or drive, or depending on what it is. But I think presence can come even with the distance. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a void. And I think one of the things, and this is just for whatever it's worth, I think playing the long game, not the short game. And what I mean by that is you don't have to solve everything today. Mm-hmm. So where it does feel broken and it does feel unfair, you can acknowledge those. Those aren't the opposite of your faith. One of the things that God's taught me is, and I think we've talked about it on here, but we were never made for death. It is a foreign experience to what it means to be human. Right? God didn't create us initially in the garden and go, you were created for this experience. Our bodies don't have a physical sense of how to handle it, which is why with the grieving process, where like everybody enters and goes through the grieving process. Yes, there's identifiable certain things, like you're going to have sadness, you're going to have anger, there's certain things that we can go, you're going to have there's like 5 stages. I think they added some to it, but we've identified stages because there are things that are similar, but anybody will go, you're going to grieve in your own way because there is no roadmap for this. We weren't created for it. Right. And so with that does enter into the broken and unfair, right? Like this is a broken part that was never meant to be a part. And so you can affirm, this feels so broken. This doesn't feel right. It's not right. There's no part of it that's right.
Yeah.
And so then you get to the unfair piece. It is unfair. I don't understand why this person died and that person didn't. We can acknowledge and enter into that. We don't have to try and be God's defense attorney. We don't have to try and, sometimes we feel like we have to stand up for God. We don't have to. We get to be fully present with the person and go, hey, I recognize it is broken and it is unfair, right? Like those are real.
Yeah.
And they're real emotions for this time. The person won't always stay in those emotions or spaces. And just knowing, okay, as they shift, then I need to move with them, right? So the idea then of you feeling the not wanting to sound preachy or dismissive. Again, I mean, we were just talking about it. There's a time when the best preaching you can do is with your actions, not your words. And so that being present, being available, listening when you don't want to listen anymore, right? Like, and there will be moments, windows that God opens for you to share a different worldview perspective, for you to be able to put words identifiable to help heal and move forward. And I think within that, your tone will change. Because if you feel like you're a defense attorney, you're going to come across like a defense attorney, right? Like if you feel like, they're missing the God, this is a chance for them, like I can get into eternity and heaven and hell, like it's probably not the right time.
Yeah.
They will have natural questions as this progresses, and the loss of the father-in-law and a young friend.
Yeah.
There's going to be natural questions that come. Where are they?
Yeah.
Right. And if you keep the conversation and ear open because you walked alongside and affirmed what you could, and still called forward when you need to call forward, you will have the opportunity to answer those questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, like, because of the distance, having regularly scheduled check-ins allows you to have that presence in their life, right? Like your desire in this question is, I want to sit with her in her pain and be loving presence. And so that means you have to then be present, and you can do that from a distance with regular scheduled check-ins. And by scheduled, I literally mean set a reminder in your phone, put it on your calendar, and have it be regular. Like,
and they don't have to know.
They don't have to know that that's what it is, like that it's on your calendar or whatever. But it's like doing those regular, regular. I mean, like literally every couple days. So it's something that's not, oh man, I forgot, I didn't talk to you for a week or two. So continuing that like regular check-in, I think, is super important to just be there for them. And presence is oftentimes the best. You don't have to have words.
Yep.
I think that's something that I have failed at, is like, man, I feel like I need to say something right now.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, just being there is going to be so much more meaningful to them. Just, hey, how are you feeling? Hey, just wanted to check in on you and see how things are going. And I think this is why the regularly scheduled thing, something that I've totally messed up in the past. It's totally our nature to say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. And people aren't going to let you know.
Right.
So you have to be the one to reach out.
Yep.
Like you can just leave it and go, hey, I know you're going through something. Trust me, if you need anything, and you truly mean it.
Yeah.
When I say this to people, I truly mean it. No, I will show up and take your trash out for you, because let me know if you need it. People aren't going to let you know.
Yep.
You just have to show up.
Yep.
So, hey, give me a call if you ever want to talk. No. I'm going to call you.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to talk.
Well, and don't assume they know what they need.
Right.
Right. Like that question assumes, as a need pops up, I'll make sure to ask you.
Yeah.
But I find that people, especially grief, is so disorienting that you don't know what you need until somebody comes alongside and goes, man, it seems like you really use what, right? And I think, to your point, that's the check-in. The check-in is a long game. The check-in, the scheduled, I'm going to plan to do this and I'm going to walk with you. Now, depending on what this is, right? Like, this is a sister, you may talk every day. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, you've already got that check-in built in, right? But to your point, like if it's not that way, then it's setting a reminder. And I actually have found, I got this from Bob Goff years ago, is the anniversary of someone's death. Put it in your phone.
Yeah. And
it'll remind you on the day, and it's just to reach out, because those days are painful. The first Christmas, whatever it happens to be, putting them in your phone, because again, life is busy. We're all moving way too fast. And so the idea is that the device is now serving me, right, in a good way, to be able to be present in within the pain.
Yeah. Well, Annie, hopefully that helps with that question. Our hearts do go out to you and your sister. Your sister as she's grieving, and you as you are trying to support her in that. So I appreciate the question and you allowing us into that to give.
And we
thoughts.
We do mean this, Annie. If you need help walking this with your sister, we're here to help.
And we have resources that can help you with that too, with grief, and
we'll point you to what we can, and even point spaces where both of you could walk that grief together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have talked about a lot of things, and if you have stuck through talking about a lot of things, then you're a part of the End of the Podcast Club.
And got a chuckle from the retro beard.
From the retro beard. He's just happy to be back in that chair right now.
I think so. I think he's enjoying himself.
There's
today.
Joy coming from that corner over there right now. I love it. Love it.
No,
well,
he's still grieving. That last question was really, really for him.
It was, he
had to send his lens back.
Yeah. Oh,
he's grieving the loss of what'd you have it a month?
Equipment.
It was a month, right? Yeah. We digress, but he's been taking pictures and posting them every day this year. What's your handle on Instagram? Simon on the base? Simone on the base. So you gotta find him. You gotta find him.
Wow, we just turned into a plug for an Instagram following now.
Right now for Simon. Or the retro beard. Sorry, I gave his name away.
There we go.
But he has been taking some killer pictures of nature and animals and just life.
A lot of things.
So, yeah, it's worth.
There you go. It's worth a follow. Also, you can follow along with everything we do by subscribing on the podcast. No, we're not doing that. I'm saying I'm trying to transition to like subscribing for the podcast, smashing that like button, all of those things.
You got to go smash the like button on what was the one? So he has pictures. I'm going to digress again. He has pictures of owls, man.
That's incredible, John.
They are incredible. You should go check them out.
They are incredible, and I'm trying to wrap this thing up, bro. Well, if you're still with us, we love you guys. Rate, subscribe, review, smash the like button, and send in your questions. Final thought I have for you today is this: is everything you do is telling a story. What is your story telling? Is it telling a story about you? Is it building your kingdom? Or is it telling a story about God and building his kingdom? We love you guys. We hope you have an incredible week, and we'll see you next week.
I love you guys.